Hey guys, it's Ryder24, and I'm back with the 5th episode of my EWOW documentation series. If you don't know what EWOW is, then you can either watch EWOW 0A or the first episode of this video diary series in order to get a general idea of what's going on. But anyways, in this video, I'll be documenting my general thoughts and feelings during EWOW 6A. For the first time, I'm splitting this episode up into 2 parts, and that's because I don't want to either have to make a video much longer than 10 minutes for a series I'm trying to keep fairly casual, and therefore very light on the editing workload, and because I don't want to have to speak very fast for the sake of cutting down on that time. Putting this tangent out of the way, we got a few things on the agenda, so let's get into them. Part of the advantages of splitting these episodes into A and B parts is that I may have the newfound opportunity to add in segments I couldn't before, so let's start by talking about the statistics of responders and my overall thoughts on the responses. The prompt for this round was, give a false reason for a true fact. A simple prompt at face value, but the simplicity opens up a wide variety of ideas for potential responses. Out of the 3,760 remaining contestants, 2,767 responded, making for a response rate of 73.59%. The top 138 will gain a life, people will rank 139th to 1,411th will see no change, and people will rank 1,412th and below will lose a life. Honestly, I expected it to be quite a bit higher than that. Maybe the new method for responding, where you have to be logged in, caused some people trouble and the responses weren't accepted because of that, but I don't imagine that was the case for too many people, so maybe it's just the latest smaller wave of people dropping off or responding, which could be for a variety of reasons. But the 3 most likely to me are that they either forgot about EWOW, were down their last life and decided to give up, or maybe some of the people who got caught cheating didn't want to keep submitting due to potential shaming. Whatever the case, these are the responses we have, and I'm kinda mixed on them. On one hand, I definitely think the overall response quality has taken a step up, and I found some really good ones while going through to cast my votes. On the other hand though, there are still the occasional people who fail to follow the 11 word rule, and a lot of the responses were either pretty standard, not bad mind you, just pretty vanilla, or worse, didn't really stay a fact in the response. As you may know, I recently made a video trying to find the identities of AI in EWOW. However, it was brought to my attention that this was a complete waste of time because people have already found out who all the AI are. Not surprising, but that means the detective agency is out of business. Okay, not really, but I don't think there's much point in making it its own series anymore, so AI related stuff will probably be consolidated into these videos. To try and roughly simulate the process of collecting AI responses, I asked ChatGPT to put out 77 different responses to the prompt, and on top of previous sampling of results, it yielded some trends. A lot of the sample responses I got would use facts regarding either animals or worldwide monuments. For example, something like cats purr because so-and-so, or the Eiffel Tower is so tall because so-and-so. They're obviously not limited to these, but those were some of the more common types of responses I saw. It may be because I'm looking into how ChatGPT might respond to a given prompt, but I feel like I'm getting significantly better at detecting these kinds of responses. But if I'm trying to tell you guys about which responses I think are AI, then why have I waited until after voting is closed to say this? Well, there are 2 reasons. 1, I can't ever be entirely sure a given response was AI until we see the results. Because of this, I don't want to out a response as possibly AI and encourage it to get voted down, just in case it turns out to come from an actual human who just came up with a similar idea. Not that I really have much influence, but you know. Secondly, though our goal is to eliminate AI, there's something that kinda creeps up in the back of my mind. Would intentionally voting down an AI response if you're near certain it's AI be able to be considered strategic voting, and therefore be liable to punishment for cheating? I decided I didn't want to chance it, and so even if I think a response is AI, I judge it on the same scale as every other response. Granted, the AI seems like it's gonna really struggle as the competition continues to narrow, and the more creative responses start to become the new norm. Now I have talked about my thoughts on the responses, it's time to move on to outside of video stuff, starting with clarifying stuff about in-video shoutouts. In-video shoutouts will not only come if I come across any new EWOW documentaries on YouTube, or if a current EWOW documentary does something that I find interesting and want to bring attention, however little it may be, too, though those will be rare exceptions. Speaking of, I actually wanted to bring attention to a couple of mini-trials that I'm participating in, those being Modified Words of Wisdom, hosted by fellow documenter Northeast Benefactor, and SOWOW, hosted by Austin the Clown. And as a reminder, I also mention all the EWOW documentaries I know of in the description of my videos in the series. This brings me to mention the elephant in the room regarding recent events surrounding us documentaries. Recently, EWOW documenter Jolly Pikachu has been exposed for impersonating Rinkrad02, a 12 veteran who placed 23rd. On top of that, Jolly Pikachu has used his ult in P in EWOW, which is in violation of the rules as set by the EWOW team. I initially had a long expansion speech on my previous thoughts, but quite a bit of time has passed since then, and I think most everyone has said what I would say about the situation, so I'll keep it brief. What Jolly did was wrong, but again, it's just a YouTube camp. I can't be bothered to care too much about the ulting. It's more so the impersonation aspect I take a bit more issue with. I will still be removing Jolly from the description mentions for videos in this series moving forward, but that's really it. And obviously, don't harass them for this. This is, again, just a silly YouTube game, and it should remain about the silly YouTube game. Besides, they've already been whittled down to 1 life as punishment. Anyways, it's time to start wrapping up this video, but before we do that, for the first time, I'm going to predict how my response will finish amongst others. I think my response mostly falls victim to being kind of vanilla, but I do think I have one thing going for me that will help my response. What that is though, I won't go into detail about until the 6B episode, as to not give away my response. The only thing that could sink me is that I'm kind of banking on not only the people who vote on my response resonating with it, but also the quality of the responses my response was up against. And I did see one response I really liked on the screen I voted on. We're still kinda at the point where ranking high is somewhat luck based, so hopefully the gods bless me. But anyways, based on what I've seen, if I had to make an exact ballpark estimate of the rank I get, I don't think I'll do well enough to prize, because again, I think my response is a bit too simple and ordinary, but I think I'll once again do well enough to remain on 3 lives. I'm expecting a rank somewhere about the 500s, maybe 538th to be exact, I guess. Now watch as I get 1800th and cry myself to sleep. But anyways, that's it. Thank you guys for watching, I hope to see you for my EWOW Diary 6B.